All right, we're kind of waiting on some engine parts to show up, so we're gonna work on the chassis a little bit. Notice when I pulled the engine, there was no rear mount. So we picked up one of these. I think it's an Avid Racing mount. We're gonna install that on the Talon real quick. Should be pretty simple. All right, we got the Avid Racing rear roll stop for the 2GN. All right, we got all these parts coming in. Things are getting real. It's my fuel cell that I'm gonna be using. I think it's a 2.5-10 fittings. I'm gonna have to figure out how to set that up. Here's some parts that came in today. Here's some parts that we've had laying around so that we can use. So I'm gonna unbox some of this. So today, what do we have here? I believe this is a water pipe. Yes, a water pipe. Turbo line. We didn't really need these two parts. So what I really needed out of this package was the thermostat housing assembly, upper and lower. It came with the coolant sensors, and also there is a spare unknown condition water pump, but it has a pulley on it. So I figured for 70 bucks I'll get the water pump, the assembly, and some water pipes, just extras. But really we just needed this. It came with the sensors and it's a complete assembly. All right, we got more Talon parts from Rick's Racing. We kind of splurged on this stuff. We probably could have done without, but I kept control of my spending. So we bought some more parts. So let's see what we got here. Got this STM T3 manifold. I bet this is gonna be sick on the Talon. We've got our Rick's Racing balance shaft delete plug, and he also got one of these J Racing alternator relocate. So sick. There we go. I gotta remember how to install this thing. All right, so that's today's parts haul. I did not necessarily need the T3 manifold, as I could have ran a different setup that I have over there, but I figured might as well, so I can run my side exit. And yeah, and then quick update, we are obviously in crunch time, so we are trying to see if we'll be able to make the shootout or if there's another event we should plan for. Still doable. We could steal parts off the Eclipse, throw on the Talon and make it there, but then I kind of think that defeats the purpose of getting all the cars running, so we're not at that point yet. So we're really having to debate whether or not we're going to go to the shootout this year or if we choose a different event to debut this thing at. And I have some ideas, but we got to sit on them. For now, just full steam ahead on the shootout. We got to wait for more parts to get in. The crankshaft that I had for my block is cut, so I get some oversized bearings, unfortunately, so we're waiting on those to come in, but I still need to get a new oil pump. All the little things add up on a build like this. I knew this beforehand and I still wanted to take this challenge, but that's where we're at right now. Nothing we can do but just to keep trying. So, but the Talon's getting some goodies. I like that. All right, the other thing I need to do is get this harness down. So I need to get this harness down so that I can start making the wire harness for the Talon, because we're gonna run the Evo 8 harness with an ECU in the Talon. So that's the plan, but I gotta see what's salvageable in this harness. So, all right, this should be our Evo 8 wiring harness. All right, well, shoot. I need a chassis fuse box or integrate this somehow. Alright, it's going to be our job to figure out how to configure this wiring harness with this ECU into this completely stripped down chassis. I'm not going to lie and say I'm not nervous. It's going to be fun, that's for sure.
Oh, sorry.
Alright, Talon Build's getting serious. Crunch time, running out of time. We are currently driving to Las Vegas to pick up some parts for the Eagle Talon that we couldn't just buy online. And we got wifey, we got baby, and we're about to enter Nevada. We might not make the shootout, but it's not for a lack of effort, so. This is worse than when we went to go pick up the Evo at -9 degrees. It is hot outside. Just want to see how much you can see by zooming in. We made it. Boom. Well, we got the parts we needed. Nothing like a Vegas trip without going down the strip. Here's another look at the drive shaft and the rear end and the axle and all the other stuff that we drove to Vegas just to pick up. Really just needed the drive shaft, but we left with some extras. So look at that. Solid bushings in the rear subframe. I might just have to swap out subframe. And then what is it? Man, these suckers are heavy. We're gonna need a tubular one. Holy cow, there it is. Time lapse didn't go off, but yeah.